Hello everyone, welcome back to another one of this. So as you can't already tell by the title and the this, I'm going back to Pony. So for those of you who do not care about Pony and just wanted to see what's up in this video, you can leave whatever you want. But for right now, I'm going to talk about Season 6 of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. So many things have happened apparently to the series since I've last looked at it in 2018. But, so for the first purpose of this, I'm going to talk about Season 6. Alright, so before I talk about Season 6, I might as well tell you this one thing. Well, I guess before I talk about that then, since everyone is basically in quarantine right now, Bro has already watched all of Full House and all of Drake and Josh. Now it's going through all of Seinfeld because of his Hulu trial, and we've already watched Detective Pikachu. I decided, you know what, I think now has to be the time for me to finish Pony, or at least the ones in Netflix. Because apparently, Netflix goes up to Season 8, but apparently, according to the My Little Pony Wiki, there's a Season 9 there, and that's the final season. So, I'm going to have to find a way to watch Season 9 if it doesn't come to Netflix before I, inevitably go back to not watching it for another year. Now, as said in the S5 video, I've seen S5 and S6 together, but I've only made the S5 video. I don't know why I didn't make that 6 video 2 years ago. Well, December of 2018. But here we are now. Okay. So, as I was rewatching Season 6, I realized how not good, well, not good, but kind of meh the entire season was. So, yeah, when I was watching the entire season, I was just kind of meh. I even, paused at, many different points of it because I felt like doing something else. But over the course of 2 days, I did manage to watch the entirety of Season 6 again. And yeah, there wasn't that much there. There wasn't any super big highlights like in previous seasons. No that big of a best episode. Not even that good, not even that bad of an episode. There are a lot worse episodes than this, a lot better episodes than anything in the Season 6. So let's just get this going right now because kind of want to finish that season that I've already seen. Now we go to Season 7, which I have not seen. So let's actually get down to this. So Season 6, my favorite episode. Granted, even though every episode here is kind of it's kind of aight at best and meh at worst. So, and to qualify for a favorite episode, there has to have something that gets me super interested. I have 4 listed here, but it's really just maybe 1 or 2. I would say the standout episode is Episode 5, Gauntlet of Fire, mostly due to the lore. And that's entirely it. There's a lot of, dragon lore in this, and I feel like My Little Pony, especially the World My Little Pony, is ripe with lore. And there's a lot of things you can take from the lore. And, it's kind of like Lord of the Rings in how, yeah, you get the initial 3 movies, right? However, there is a lot of lore to be taken out of it and can be made into a whole different bits of supplemental material and just kind of side stories. I feel like My Little Pony can, or at least this particular instance of My Little Pony can actually work with that kind of thing. Would Hasbro ever do that such a thing where release lots of the supplemental material, let's talk about the lore of their world? No. But it'll be kind of cool if they did. So anyway, that is why that's there. And also because of the lore, I'm going to talk about Episode 19, The Fault in Our Cutie Marks. I understood the reference, because I did at one point subscribe to John Green. Mostly because of Griffin lore. And I will talk about the Griffin in the episode in one of my favorite characters segment, but talks about a Griffin wants to have a cutie mark, and the CMC are wondering, is it even possible? And yeah, they're doing the usual CMC things, but even nobody is even well aware is even possible. But stuff happens, so we'll see. We'll see when we get there. I'm also going to talk about Episode 6, No Second Prances, mostly because of Trixie. The whole Trixie comeback, and actually kind of interesting episode with Starlight. So, especially talking about Starlight, how not too big of a character she is in this season, considering how she is made to be Twilight's student. which is actually kind of interesting, like how they actually work with the villain of season prior this time. Like there was Discord, and he became like basically an ally, and they do the same with Starlight and with Trixie. And how it culminates in the ending, where it takes the initial main bad guy S2, like the sole species of the ending of S2, the Changelings, how in Trixie's a main rival of Twilight for the longest time, and then the S5 like boss of took into account. So it's kind of interesting. But I'm not talking about the ending here because the ending here it's kind of weak. But I just talk about something about the ending, how it relates to all these episodes I was talking about. And speaking of the changelings, I'm also going to talk about episode 16, the times they are a changeling, mostly because of said changeling. And that's all I'm going to talk about said changeling, my favorite character segment, because that changeling is actually a big deal. My hated episode. How am I gonna do this? Because like, granted, there aren't that many too much any skip-worthy episodes, but there are two that are. And I'm not sure which one of them deserves the hated episode moment, or hated episode section, or the hated moment section. And because, like, when I talk about hated moments, always a moment is like a tiny piece of it, in an otherwise okay episode, I'm not going to talk about episode 7, Newbie Dash, because I'll talk about it in my least favorite moment segment. Because it's just that one moment that was something I didn't like. So, for this, my hate episode by default goes to episode 23, Where the Apple Lies. Mostly because of the cringe moment. Because here's the thing, right? This episode makes sense. Like, entirely makes sense. Okay? It's like, I think this episode has to be made eventually. In an episode where Applejack lies her butt off, and then mayhem ensues. I feel like this is an episode that made for Applejack, even like a younger version of her. So I believe it makes sense for her. And plus it gives like a bunch of backstory for her and Big Mac. The part where Big Mac actually talks a lot. But he stopped talking too much as a lesson for that episode. So it's kind of a reason why Big Mac doesn't talk that much, and why Applejack tells the truth to the point that in a different episode where they would talk about when her and Fluttershy go to Las Pegasus, nice reference, and they meet Flim and Flam, and how even they recognize that Applejack never lies. It's because of this episode. So, granted, I feel like even though this episode needed to be made and has to be made, I feel like because of what this episode is, I do not like. And plus, there aren't that bad episodes in season 6. It's meh at worst, as said. It's at best meh at worst. They're nothing too terrible, nothing too amazing. My favorite character. Now, I can't determine which between the Changeling Thorax or the Griffin Gabby, or Gabriella, but is my favorite. But before I mention either of them, dude, when I was watching the season, I noticed that Fluttershy had a huge, she had like a huge role. I mean, not by role, I mean like a big streak of amazing moments. When it comes to good moments, Fluttershy just made it. I feel like if this season is like, if I could summarize this season, is holy crap, Fluttershy is amazing this season. I used to really do not like Fluttershy. Like Fluttershy's entire character did not really like. Granted, I could say I like Pinkie's worse, but this season, man, made Fluttershy a really good character. As if they remembered that Fluttershy at one point took lessons of being assertive and actually uses it in its entire season. So I feel like Fluttershy has a good streak this entire season, and that's what I like about this season. It's about Fluttershy specifically. So between the favorite characters, Thorax and Gabriella, Thorax is the most relevant. So let's go talk about him first. The nice changeling. I mentioned this before for episode 16, that he is like the main standout character, but also like takes into account the ending because he's like the main character for the ending, arguably on par with Starlight. for like the importance in the ending. So, to summarize Thorax, he's a changeling who got separated from his group, who acts very differently to the usual changelings. Like, he's actually kind of nice, but he's raised in an environment where nobody is nice. And so, needs to find a way to, stand out and not be a huge, like, threat to basically everything. And that's where Spike comes in and helps him out. And I'll mention this, my favorite song moment, so, I'm not going to explain much here, but he does play a role in the ending where the group actually does end up in the, guess you could say the changing fortress or whatever stronghold, and Thorax at that point in the episode, his wings look different, but never got into play until this moment. They realize, wait a minute, so the changelings are always, they're always hungry for love, and they feed on love, and they're always hungry. Where Thorax hasn't felt a thing. He's never hungry. Hasn't been hungry for the longest time, and at that point, some people might be wondering, wait a minute, will this come to play later? And even though I knew what's going to happen because I rewatched it in 2018, but yeah, it does give you hints on the final episode, what's really going to happen. And what's really going to happen is that Thorax eventually transforms into a different kind of being who is all about love, and manages to convince the other changelings to do the same. So, and apparently he grows super big, and all the other changelings who transform stay their current size, and then Chrysalis gets really salty about everything and chooses not to reform and just flies away. Now that I think about it, it's actually kind of similar to Gabby, which might as well talk about mention now. Talk about mention now? What kind of grammar is that? Anyway, point is that since she's a griffin, she was raised in an area where nobody is nice. However, she herself is very nice and wants to help out, and she's bundle of positively. I think she's adorable. I think she's one of those adorable characters in MLP. Just because of that, awesome positivity. That's what I really like about Gabby, more than anything else. Oh, by the way, side note, I probably shouldn't say the name Gabby around here. Mostly because... Actually, no, that's not important. That's not important. It's related to Bro more than me, but I'm not going to say anything. So, yeah, she's a huge bundle of positivity. So, I really like her. She's adorable, and she's happy. So basically similar circumstances to Thorax, which is why I like Abby too. And she ends up really nice too. From what I've heard, saw on her wiki page, she doesn't really play out to a role. She's really more of a one-off character, but she's a really good one-off character. Not the best one-off character. That's Cheese Sandwich, without question. But she's a really good one-off character. That's what I really like about her. My hated character, again, there aren't that many characters in different characters to hate. However, if I'm going to have to choose one, it'll have to be the one named Zesty Gourmand. From the episode where Rarity and Pinkie Pie go into Canada and do a friendship problem there. Which, by the way, has the same episode. We have this Indian-style pony, and she looks amazing. Great design. But the whole point of her character is that she is, I wouldn't say a food critic, but more so see this hoity-toity, fine dining pony who is the main authority on restaurants and how they should work. I don't know, man. Big, stuck-up influencers is very, how would I say this? Something that I'm not the kind of person to like. I'm not sure most people do. Granted, I don't like Canada as a whole, mostly because of the whole everyone's being stuck up and stuff. But Zesty Gourmand is an example of it, of why I don't like the Canada area. I guess kind of like the city itself. Again, because of the whole stuck up royals or stuck up rich people who just snooty and everything, that sort of thing. Not a big fan of it. Pause. Let me get some water. So yeah. Trying to change an Indian-style restaurant the generic standard nonsense that Zesty made just so people can, or ponies in this case, can, go in. Even though nobody likes it. No one likes stuck up influencers. I don't even like the term influencer, but this is the best word to describe this character. Anyway, moving on from that, my favorite song. Now, surprisingly, I have three entries on this thing, and 2 of them from the Christmas episode. Now, for those who know me, and for those who don't know me, I don't like Christmas. I don't do Christmas. But A Christmas Carol is a whole different story. Because I don't know, because The Christmas Carol is kind of a very well-known Christmas-y story. Doesn't it? And the whole Scrooge and the 3 spirits, that sort of thing, that sort of story. Surprisingly, 2 of them are from. Why did I put my fingers like this? Why not this? Are from the episode, which is the Starlight song, "Say Goodbye to the Holiday." Good song. I'm actually gonna say it's a good song. I really like it. I can't explain why. Maybe because of Starlight's the singer voice is on point for this one, so I like it. And also Luna's Future, because it's a Luna song, and that's it. But even then, even if it's not a Luna song, it's still a really good song. I can't really explain why, except for it being a Luna song. But the third entry on this list is, I just mentioned, A Changeling Can Change, a Spike song, which is kind of weird because, Spike is, especially the last couple of seasons, is the butt of all jokes. But he's in this season, so I like the song. It's a pretty good song. Again, lore-wise, especially considering the opponent's relationship with the changelings, and we've seen that with the ending of season 2. But how everyone can deserve a second chance. I even took notes on every episode, and there are certain episodes which talk about ponies talking about people deserving a second chance. For example, in the first 2 episodes, Twilight has a single line which got me, which is Twilight says something about not dwelling on the past. Okay. What else is in here? Hold on, let me just go find some because oh, there we go. In episode 6, there's a super quick mention from Rarity that anyone deserves a second chance. And again, it comes to play. Comes to play with episode 16. And I believe there was some other things, but not before this episode. So, okay. So I believe that even certain characters from previous episodes talking about what could happen, then leading up to the song, and then leading up to the ending. How change. My favorite, I'm not gonna say my favorite song, and that's not worth it. My favorite moment. Okay, now two mentions. Imagine the quickest one, which is on episode 11, which we first see Fluttershy's brother Zephyr Breeze. Now, I was this close to putting him on my hated character slot, but for me, how can I put character in my least favorite character, one of my least favorite characters, my hated characters of the season, if that character is hilarious? Because the whole personality of this character sucks, but there are some moments there where he's just absolutely hilarious, and the best of which is Zephyr convincing Rainbow Dash that she has a crush on him. Okay, so future me, if you could put the clip right about now, and hopefully you don't get demonetized.
Oh, this ought to be good.
Sorry, I shouldn't tease you. I know the whole super awesome flyer bit's just to impress me. Still, thanks for showing up for my homecoming. It's sweet.
This is really hilarious. When I saw that first instance of that, I was just cracking up. And that's probably the most of me cracking up this entire season. Just like Rainbow Dash being absolutely like, just excuse me, something like that. With Zephyr having a crush on her, or him thinking that she has a crush on him, to the point that at the end of the episode, even Fluttershy's parents thought that she has a crush on Zephyr. It's absolutely hilarious. Like Dash's like moments in that, it's absolutely hilarious. But something stand out. It's the one episode thing, but it's related to a recurring character. And that is in episode 18 with Snails. Because he just shows up and just completely bosses through everything. So, yeah, just future me, put the clip of Snail, like the first instance of Snails being a boss.
Amazing.
So yeah, this entire episode with the weird competition, the buck ball thing, like Snails just being like a total boss. And even though the episode is not about him, like the episode was made for him. You would think that a weird like, really, minor character, right? A minor recurring character who was originally there for like the goofs. It's kind of like the Skull and Bulk and Skull, if you know what I mean. But like, and he ends up being a boss in the entire episode. That is pretty amazing. That's what I call a favorite moment. I even mentioned in my notes for that episode that if I'm gonna have to do a favorite moment segment, that has to be mentioned. All right, and my most hated moment. I did say that episode 23 is my hated episode because of the whole premise of the episode, even though it needed to be made. There was one other thing in episode 7 where, granted, the episode is one of those Rainbow Dash does really embarrassing things and does being a failure to be the failure of herself. Granted, the Rainbow Falls is way worse. But what did Rainbow Dash do this time that makes it really hard to watch? Well, she decides that, well, in order to stand out from the others and not, for everyone to stop calling her Rainbow Crash, which she gets triggered on, the rest of the main stage were thinking, hey, when we were trying to stand out, and for some reason, that got into Dash's head, saying, you know what, let's do that. I'm going to imitate the rest of my friends. See what happens.
Are you guys excited? I'm excited. Actually, I'm always excited. Some ponies even call me Dynamic Dash. Go ahead and call me Fourth Ride Philly if you want, but she yucks. I like to tell it like it is. I'm always finding so much interesting information in books. In fact, a lot of ponies call me Reading Rainbow. I was just trying to help because I care about all of the Wonder Bolts oh so much. Yes, sirree. Just call me Care Mare. Why, ever since I was a foal, I've admired the mixture of bold lines and classic contours. They don't call me Rainbow Fash for nothing.
Granted, the rarity imitation's on point, and I think that's pretty hilarious. But the remainder of which, that's not Dash. That is not Dash. I'm sorry, but like aside from the rarity portion of the imitation, which I do believe it's kind of funny, because it's not Rainbow Dash, but it's still funny. Like it's still funny in Rainbow Dash mode. But the others, no. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to watch. I believe that's it. There's not much in the way of anything else. On the episode, I did mention all I needed to see. Oh, one more thing. Something I forgot to mention. Okay. And it's use of the word cider. Now, I was watching it through Netflix, so I need to give the context for this. Okay. In episode 23, for some weird reason, I looked this up and looked up by accident before watching that for some reason the Netflix portion of episode 23 censors the word cider for juice and has made new lip flaps or whatever to change cider to juice. Whereas every other episode that mentions apple cider mentions cider. But not this one. which is strange because we've known about how the apples feel about apple cider in like way back, or should I mention in this direction, way back. And so we know like how they work with apple cider, but for some reason on this episode only, they censor the word cider for juice, which is strange. It's really, really strange. Let's look at how many episodes. I know I actually did notes on every instance of the word cider in my notes. Where did I find it at? Okay, episode 8. The third song in the episode, or was the fourth? The third song in the episode mentioned cider. Alright, so it's just on the episode 8. And also, the episode after the episode with censors, episode 24. It's kind of strange, because even though episode 23 censors cider, the episode immediately after mentions it. Which is strange. I find it so weird that cider is mentioned, like, but not in that one episode. So I find it weird. Alright, so that is it for Season 6 now. Hope maybe I can actually do Season 7 now that, everyone's in quarantine. Of course, there are a lot of other videos I want to do right now. I still have a huge backlist of Tops episodes left. But for the time being, see you guys later. Hopefully, like, the next My Little Pony episode won't take place more than a year after this one. I hope not.